Hi everybody, I'm Professor Rad, and today we're going to talk about how you can change from a mixed number into a fraction format. So we're going to start out with a reminder about how we used the drawing of fractions to convert between mixed numbers and improper fractions. So I've got a drawing here of 3 and 1/6. We can tell that because we've got 3 entire candy bars filled in, and then 1 out of 6 pieces in this last one. So that's our 3 and 1/6. We can also think of this as 19/6 because if we count each of the individual squares, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and so on, there are 19 individual squares that are shaded in, but each candy bar is made out of 6 pieces, so that's why our denominator is 6ths. So we can use this concept to help us come up with like an arithmetical way of finding a conversion between 3 and 1/6 and 19/6, so we don't have to draw them all the time. And this is especially useful if either the numerator or the denominator is super large, right? You don't want to have to divide a candy bar up into 1,000 pieces. That would be not fun. So here's what we can do. So notice that each of these entire candy bars has 6 filled in pieces. So it's kind of like we've got a repeated addition going on. We've got 6 and 6 and 6. So repeated addition is the same as multiplication. So we have 6 rectangles, or 6, colored in squares, and we've got 3 entire shapes. So that's going to give us how many colored in squares are here. And then this one, there's only 1 piece shaded in. So after I do that multiplication, I'm going to add that 1 extra piece there. Now each of these fractions each of these candy bars is made up of 6 pieces. So our denominator here is going to be 6 pieces. If I look at this and compare it to the mixed number format and see how I can use this to get to my improper fraction, notice that here we have 6 times 3. And so I could think of that as doing 6 times 3. And then we added a 1. So then we can add this 1. So I think of the converting between a mixed number and an improper fraction as a very visual process, where I multiply the denominator by the big number, and then I add the numerator. And that's going to give me this new numerator of 19. Notice in this process, the denominator doesn't change, it remains the same. So that's going to be our technique for converting between mixed numbers and into improper fractions. So I've got theorem 5 here. To summarize those steps, you're going to multiply the denominator of the fraction by the whole number part, by the big number. Then you add the numerator to that answer, and that's going to be the numerator of the improper fraction, and you just keep the decimal or the denominator the same. Now I do have an important note here about if you have a negative mixed number, because negatives can change, the results of your multiplication or your addition. So when you're converting a negative mixed number, that negative is applying to the entire fraction. So you can treat it somewhat like a label, actually. So you can just do the converting, ignore the minus sign, do the converting, and then put that negative back in at the end. So let's go ahead and work through a few examples together so we can see this process in motion. Okay. So let's write each mixed number as an improper fraction. So to do this, we're going to multiply the denominator by the whole number and then add the numerator. So 4 times 3 is 12, and 12 plus 1 is 13. Then we keep the denominator the same. So we just keep it as 4. So for this next one, we've got some bigger numbers. So I'm going to move down to some scrap paper space and work out that multiplication by hand. So I'm going to do 21 times 5. 5 times 1 is 5. And 5 times 2 is 10. So I did 21 times 5 And now we have to add 11. That's going to give us 116. So we have 116 up top, and our denominator is 21. That's it. So you do a multiply and an add, and you keep the bottom the same. Now for part C, we have a negative, but we're not going to let that deter us. You ignore that negative, so it doesn't exist. We'll do 6 times 2, which is 12, and then we'll add that 5 to get 17. So 2 and 5/6 is the same as 17 over, and we keep the denominator, 6. And then we have the negative out front. So that's it. That's how you convert from a mixed number into an improper fraction. I've got a few problems down here if you want to try them out on your own and see how you do. In the next video, we'll be working these problems the other way. So we'll start out with an improper fraction and turn it into a mixed number. So I hope you have a fantastic day, and I'll see you next time.